Joe in real life. So today, or rather yesterday and today, I've been listening to Paleface Swiss, which I believe you'd categorize as a metalcore or grindcore band. And their album, Fear and Dagger? I forget. It's the 2022 album, Paleface Swiss. It's got Dagger in the title. It's a play on Cloak and Dagger. It's awesome. It's just so good. And I didn't know anything about Paleface Swiss. I think it's Paleface Swiss to differentiate itself from Paleface, which, I mean, nobody should have any trouble differentiating those. But, dude, what a good album. It's just so good. And maybe that's all I have to say about it. Like, if you're a metal fan, if you like grindcore or metalcore, and if you're not sure what you like because, like me, you get a little confused by all the subgenres, they're nothing like Napalm Death. Not really. But if you like Napalm Death, if that's roughly the metal wheelhouse that you like, you're going to like Paleface Swiss. Is Paleface Swiss as good as Napalm Death? Particularly their best albums, which also fucking crazy. I'm going off on a tangent here. But their latest album might be their best. And that's fucking saying something, because they got some bangers over the years. But their latest one was so good. And no, Paleface Swiss is not that good. But it's a flavor. It's a flavor family. And if you like that flavor family, I think you're really going to like this album. I never thought I'd say this, but he raps on it. And normally, I very much don't like when metal bands have rap breakdowns. It just feels out of place and awkward and kind of forced and cringy. This motherfucker pulls it off, man. Like, it sounds right. It fits the music. It sounds good. In fact, if I have a criticism for this album, at nearly 70 minutes long, it gets a little fatiguing, you know? And I've got good stamina for this stuff. You know, a lot of these albums will be roughly in the 30, 40 minute range. 70 minutes is long. You could break that up, dude. You could break that up by rapping more. Like, I never thought I'd hear myself say that, but like, your rap breaks are a nice little auditory refresh. And you could do that every other song or every third song or so and really keep it fresh. Like, that's my only critique. I've only listened to the album. This is my third listen through at this point. I don't think it has a weak song, you know? It gets a little fatiguing at points. It gets a little repetitive. I blame the length of the album mostly for that. Certainly if you broke it up into 2 listens and gave yourself a little lunch break in between, that wouldn't be a real problem. I think the weakest track, weirdly, and this is pretty weird, the intro is a little cringy. I don't love it. And the first song, I think the first song's still good. It's still a banger. Like, it hooked me right away. But then you hear the second song, and really, like, the next 8. And you're like, man, every one of these songs is a lot better than that track. Like, swap the first song out with any of those songs. You have a better intro hook. You have a better way into the music and a better representation of the music. That ain't a real criticism, though, because it hooked me well enough to listen to the whole album like 3 times through in the last 24, 36 hours. So it's good, you know? And metal is in good hands. I've said that in prior videos. but the kids have metal under control. Shit's good. Shit's good right now. And I never thought it would come back. I was pretty cynical on this. I thought metal was done and that it was a great tragedy of our times. You know, that this, what I think is a beautiful and uplifting art form, weirdly kind of in alignment with the passing of the great Cormac McCarthy. It's an American music, although not technically, and it reveals our dark underbelly and contrasts it against an indifferent world. If you're a metal fan, listen to Paleface Swiss. You're gonna like it. You really will. And hey, if you don't, forgive me, right? If you do like it, let me know in the comments. If you've got other suggestions, let me know in the comments. Cats have been doing that recently, and I very much like it. You know, if you got music you want me to listen to, I am happy to do it. I forget the band. Oh, The Ocean. A number of you guys responded about The Ocean, and I haven't gotten back to you really yet. But yeah, that band fucking kills. I enjoyed all their albums. Holocene, the most recent one, is my favorite, but they were all good. Every one of them was good. And I can't believe I'd never heard of this band before, because they've been around for a minute. Like, they were making that music during the period where I was most cynical about metal. And if someone had been like, hey man, have you heard The Ocean? Because I think it might fix your attitude a little bit, I would have listened to it and been like, oh shit, there is good stuff. But they weren't that big back then. To be fair to me, they were getting almost no exposure. Anyway, give Paleface Swiss a listen. I think you'll like it. We're gonna squat, and then I'm gonna do something random. Today's a kind of random day, a grab bag. I don't know what yet. I'm just gonna see how I feel. I am very sore from yesterday's squats. Ugh, excuse me, what was that? So, we're gonna see what happens. Honestly, I'm a little suspicious about my minimum. I think front squats are in order. And then, yeah, we'll see. All right, I love you guys. Stay tuned. So it was about 7 a.m., 7:30 when I recorded my whole rant about Paleface Swiss, and I gotta be totally honest, it's maybe 10:30 now. I was not wide awake, which I stand by everything I said. Like, the album's great, it's really fun, you'll enjoy it a lot if you're into that style of music. But that rant, much like this workout, I was only partially conscious. And I was so sore. Like, I slept great last night, but as great as I slept and as well as I ate yesterday, my recovery was not sufficient. You watched me do a little warm-up. All I did was front squats today and some farmer's carries. That's it. Like, I had nothing else in the tank, and I feel completely justified in that being the case. In fact, as little as I did, I may have done too much. Probably not. Probably just a fine amount. But if I was prioritizing recovery in the way that I should, yeah, you could argue that I did too much. I got up to my minimum. It felt good. You know, minus the herky-jerkiness, the crushed glass in my adductors and hamstrings and hips. You see me here trying to do a little wiggling around, a little moving. Just trying to get my body to respond. And it never really did, you know? Despite that, my positions were good. I felt really upright in the squat. I felt really good in my hips. This is something I've commented on in the past, but soreness, I think, is really good for proprioception. But I'm using technical jargon, just awareness of where your body is in space. You know, that's all that means. And while I did not move with power and confidence, I knew exactly where I was in the positions. The shapes felt correct. And I think that's awesome. I think that's like one of the great benefits to just being sore and just working out sore. A lot of people, if they're sore, will take a day off. And you might even be right to do that. I got no reason to lecture you, you know? But I would say give it a try if you haven't, because your awareness is dramatically improved and you have pain as an indicator to when you're out of alignment. Like, pain's a really, really good teacher, you know? Like, no, we don't like it. You know, we're evolutionarily predisposed to not enjoy that experience. But like, if you tip forward or you tip too far backward, say in a front squat like I was doing today, aside from the ordinary pain of just being sore and being in that position, you get some really, really sharp indicators that you're about to fuck up. And you can pull back, you can dial in, you can make corrections on the fly. You also can work with extremely light weight and feel like you're doing something instructive, you know? Like, this workout is not one for the record books, but I feel like I did really good motor pattern work here today. And that's a win for me, you know? Now, that aside, even if it wasn't, this is squat every day. I'm in here every day. So it still has to happen. And that releases a certain amount of responsibility / accountability too, you know? Like, even if it's unproductive, disastrous, troubling, pick your favorite adjective for something in that similar vein, I still have to do it. Yeah, and that allows me, kind of ironically and curiously, it allows me to surrender a little bit to the process. Like, I'm doing front squats today. I have to get up and down at least once with 155. That's not an option. So what does become optional at that point? How can I change my strategy, my tactics, to make this as safe and suffering-free as possible? And that's what I did today. And it felt really good. It was a great success. My girl went for a walk with her friend this morning instead of working out together. But just the impetus of being up and being out the door and accountable to each other was a great benefit to me. So, what's the takeaway? What's the bottom line? Well, today's video is a little scattered and kind of all over the place. I think I gave like an 8-minute review of a metal album you don't care about, and I squatted very little. What are you gonna do, right? This is squat every day. I got nothing else. But hey, I love you guys. Have a great day today. Be good to each other. Be kind. I'm gonna try hard to do the same. I think this is my last rep, 155. I'll watch it with you. You see me milling around, herky-jerky, 3 times speed. I think I paused in the bottom, but I don't remember. Let's see. Yeah, a little pause. Knees came in sharply. That's the soreness. And that looked good. That was a very clean rep. All right, see you tomorrow.